Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the English News from Djibouti channels. Here are our top stories for our news edition tonight. Our headlines are: the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, participated by the video conference in a summit of the IGAD. On continental news, world hunger worsens, UN pessimistic about for 2020. Welcome if you join us. The President of the Republic, Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, take part today via a video conference in an IGAD summit dedicated to assessing and consulting on the main issues and challenges on the agenda in the sub-region: peace and stability, the level of resilience of the countries of the region regarding the global pandemic that is COVID-19, the particularly drastic consequences of the climate change phenomenon of the populations of IGAD member state, the ability of East Africa to achieve food security in the current context of low-cost destroying crops and food. Everything was discussed during the summit. President Guelleh's participations in this conference was mainly marked by a speech. In that speech, the President of the Republic first spoke about the state of peace and stability in the sub-region. In this regard, we welcomed the significant progress made in the restorations of peace and national cohesion in southern Sudan. The continent adopted he has socio-economic consequences that have jeopardized the livelihood of thousands of people, especially in the informal sector, he said, the President Guelleh during his speech.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Mr. Prime Minister of the Republic of Sudan, distinguished guests of heads of states and governments, ladies and gentlemen, allow me at the outset to thank my brother, His Excellency Abdullah Hamdok, and Chairperson of the IGAD Assembly of Heads of State and Governments for convening this meeting. Let me also acknowledge the Special Envoy and all concerned for their hard and tireless work. Finally, I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate the government and the people of South Sudan for the 9th anniversary of the Republic of South Sudan. Excellencies, the quest for a lasting peace in South Sudan continues to be at the heart of our efforts, and today's meeting is another landmark in this endeavor. Undeniably, significant progress has been made. All the phases conducing to a sustainable peace are in place now. Albeit with some strains, the pre-transitional period ultimately transited into the transitional period, which is a progress that holds much promises. In this regard, I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate His Excellency President Salva Kiir for his political leadership and commend all political parties for their cooperation and compromise. Praiseworthy and courageous steps, such as the agreement on the number of states and their boundaries, have been taken. The ceasefire that has been established continues to hold. Last but not least, the government has recently announced the launching of a full-scale disarmament of the civilian population. These are commendable strides that illustrate a determined leadership as well as a concerted, united, and responsible action. Alas, we still note a few shortcomings, such as the delay in confirming the RGMEC leadership, the formation of a new parliament, and especially the absence of local sovereignty in some states. The appointment of all the states' governors has not been completed and is of utmost importance in order to end the recurrent communal conflict, the gender-based violence, and cattle disputes. I believe that the final resolution of the issue of responsibility sharing at the state and local government levels will go a long way in addressing these problems.
Continuing his speech, the head of state gave an update on the threats posed by COVID-19, whether human, social, or economic. Let's listen to the president.
Ladies and gentlemen, is that a nation is built on unity and is raised on cooperation and compromise. We commend our brothers of South Sudan for the determined leadership and patriotism and assure them of our solidarity. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, nothing has prepared us for the threats posed by COVID-19, may it be human, social, or economic, despite taking on very early an aggressive and ambitious strategy of rapid testing and treatment. We have, to this day, lost 55 persons. The lockdown measures resulted in serious socio-economic consequences that has jeopardized the livelihoods of thousands of people and weakened further our already fragile economy, especially in the informal sector. Faced with this difficult situation, the government has, among other things, set up a compensatory allowance for employees. In that context, we have decided on a gradual and sequenced deconfinement while still testing. To date, the evolution of the main epidemiological indicators fortunately confirms the decline that began on May 31, 2020. Indeed, we have registered since then a decreasing number of persons diagnosed positive, a weaker viral infection, and thus a decreasing number of hospitalization. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, at our last meeting, we have justly decided to develop a coordinated regional response strategy as well as a coordinated whole-of-government approach. I would go further and propose that our Executive Secretary provide us a monthly regional status reports on the status of COVID-19 in the region. Finally, since we are planning on opening the countries and airspaces, the adoption of regional guidelines and harmonization and facilitation of cross-border transport operation across the region should be put in place. I thank you all.
The Secretary of State for Youth and Sport, Mr. Hassan Mohammed Kamel, proceeded yesterday morning to the handing over of a large batch of sports equipment to the various sports associations of the interior region at Anglais Stadium, an action which falls within the framework of the organization of the summer tournament, whose objective is to occupy the young holiday maker with the sport activity during this period of school break, and by the same token promote sport in our country. The associations represented by the deputy directors of the region have presented their grievance in the turn before an audience of guests, an official, in this case the director of region, Mr. Omar Hassan Abdullahi, director of sport, but also Abshir Ali, and the director of Guled Stadium, Mrs. Fatuma Dabale, and all of them beneficiaries, regional sports associations. The deputy director of the region welcomed the donations and called on the minister to continue the efforts. A workshop to reflect on the implementation decree of the law on the protections, preventions, and care of women and children's victims of violence was held yesterday at UNFD. This workshop, organized by the Minister of Women and Family, was aimed at reflecting on the present law, which aims to combat all forms of violence against women and children in the Republic of Djibouti, and to put in place measures to prevent, protect, and care for victims of gender-based violence, and how to prosecute the perpetrators of such violence was the objectives of this workshop on the implementation decree of the law on protections, preventions, and care of women and children who are victims of violence, which was held yesterday at UNFD. The workshop attended by the Secretary General of the Ministry of Women and Family, Mrs. Amina Hassan Bahdan, and members of Parliament, Ministerial Department, and other relevant public institutions. The Minister of Women and the Family, in collaboration with the UNICEF, organized this morning the opening of a training workshop aimed at helping governance policy and program planners and managers to identify key dimensions of early childhood and develop skills in the formulation of integrated and comprehensive early childhood development policies and program. The workshop was chaired by the technical advisor at the Ministry of Women and Family, Mr. Mohammed Ismail, were present also the representative of the different sectoral department and the consultant, Mr. Khalid. The objective of the workshop was to strengthen governance officials' knowledge of early childhood development, raising also awareness of the importance of early childhood development in the public policies. Also in the news, in accordance with a decree partiality lifting exceptional measures to prevent the spread of COVID-19, a working meeting chaired by the Director General of the Civil Aviation Authority, Mr. Daoud Ali Abdo, was held in the premises of the Civil Aviation Authorities located at Djibouti Airport. The meeting was attended by the Secretary General of the Ministry of Health, Dr. Salah Benoita, the Director General of Djibouti International Airport, Mr. Mohammed Yusuf Sharmarke, as well as the Director General of the National Airlines, Air Djibouti, Mr. Abdurrahman Ali Abdullahi, and civil and military public health actors in Djibouti and the guarantors of safety. The Minister of Affairs and Solidarity, together with the Secretary of State for Decentralization, is continuing their biometric registration and enrollment operation in the north, namely the town of Obakh. The technical teams are crossing the various prefectures and the periphery of the region. This important mission aims to finalizing the identifications and registration process of the beneficiaries of the National Family Solidarity Program. The biometric enrollment of households takes place in the locality previously identified through collecting biographical and biometrical information and socioeconomic data and on all members. It should be noted that the National Family Solidarity Program is a national-wide program aimed at improving human capital, those combining cash transfer with accompanying measures. As part of the COVID-19 pandemic responses, Obakh Regional Council yesterday organized a ceremony to distribute 1,400 masks to the local populations. The masks distributed were made by Obach region seamstresses who were occasionally formed in groups to participate in the responses to the health emergency. As a prelude to the manufacture of the mask, the women of the group beneficiated from training organized by the National Association of Djiboutian Local Communities. On the manufacture of barrier masks made of washable fabric, according to Afnar Spake. In addition, the regional sub-director of the Secretariat for Youth and Sport, the volunteers of the Obach branch of the Djibouti Red Crescent, and all youth and women's association mobilized for the ceremony. As part of the Ramses strategy of COVID-19, the Executive Secretary Hussein Hassan Darar, accompanied by his technical staff, went yesterday, Monday, in Ali Sabih, especially in the locality of Usa, where he have installed a quarantine center for migrants from Yemen who are blocked in Djibouti because of COVID-19. The executive secretary was accompanied on the trip by the prefect of the town of Ali Sabih, Musa Aden Migani. This quarantine center for migrants is managed by ONARS in collaboration with the national policy, the national prefecture of Ali Sabih, and the Red Crescent of Djibouti. All migrants who cross our border pass through this site to be tested and treated before being voluntarily repatriated home. On continental news, California yesterday ordered the return to a closure of some businesses and public places in the face of the continued spread of COVID-19 in its population, shortly after WHO expressed concern that too many countries are going in the wrong direction in the face of the pandemic, according to the Director General of the World Health Organization, Tedros. The conflicting message from leaders are undermining the most essential ingredient of any responses, trust, he lamented without naming names. California, one of the largest outbreaks of the diseases in the United States and the first state in the country to impose a general lockdown in March, announced Monday that it will expand statewide closure for bars, indoor dining room, movie theater, and other public places. The Ebola virus is repairing and developing in Western Congo. The Ebola virus is spreading in Western Democratic Republic of Congo with nearly 50 known cases in a large area bordering the Republic of Congo and the Central African Republic. The World Health Organization say emergency expert yesterday 48 cases have been confirmed in Equator Province in DRC since authorities announced a new outbreak there on 1st of June. Ladies and gentlemen, here we arrive at the end of this news edition. Thank you for watching us.